Today, I have one comment that brings up a tech topic to respond to, one email that has a topic to respond to. So I kind of feel like, oh, this will be a little more relaxed today than trying to get through a whole bunch of topics, which I enjoy doing, but nice to have a break from it once in a while. I have an audio confirmation for myself, and then we'll get a speaker bot confirmation in just a couple seconds.
DougBetts said, "Hi, how you doing?"
There we go. And I'm going to actually listen to it myself. There it goes. All right. I'll go hit these topics and then come and hang out in chat for a while. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit and then hit the video link button on the streamer deck. It's not called a streamer deck, it's a stream deck. Why do you insist on mispronouncing Doug? Chevy, who may very well be in chat. Yeah, he is in chat today. Responded with a comment Thursday, May 15th, yesterday, 13 hours ago. Hey, DougBetts. Hey, it's Fat Albert. There's a flash from the past. Thanks for the great response about secure boot state. He had asked, I think in a comment on another video, to discuss secure boot without any specific question. So I discussed it to some extent. And then he says, Carrie Holzman's show brought to my attention how to check secure boot state and system information. When I first read that this morning, I don't know, half an hour ago, I thought, well, why didn't you ask me that question? Well, he might not have had that question when he first asked, discuss secure boot. He might not have had very much awareness of it. I don't know. If he would have asked me that question, yeah, I would have shown system information. So I think he probably picked that up as he's just becoming more aware of secure boot. And I make that deduction. This is my detective mind trying to deduce or read between the lines, right? It's just a game I play. It says, wow, I found my secure boot state off. I wonder if that's a copy and paste since it has those square brackets. Does MS Info have those square brackets? Okay, now I have to go into BIOS. This is him thinking to himself, self-talk here. Gigabyte B660M DS3H DDR4 BIOS update from version F4, which was December 17th, 2021. So he was out of date for a ways. Probably also picked up from Carrie's show how to do that update, to version F31 compared to F4. So 4 to 31, that's a pretty significant update. March 12th, 2025. So yeah, we're looking at for 3.5 years. Is that right? Yeah, 3.5 years. Completed successfully. Well done. Is it? 3 would be 4.5. Yeah, that's right. It's hard to do math when you're doing on a show. And Carrie has had this, we've seen this on camera for him too, where it's math that both of us can do without a camera on. Turn on a camera on and fall apart. Laugh out loud. F31 turned secure boot state off. So he did a BIOS update after having turned it on. So let's see, I think what he's saying here, found my how to check, found it off, and I'm reading between the lines here. I think he turned it on and then did the BIOS update, and the BIOS update actually turned it off. Yeah, that's a thing. That happens. And basically, I would say the reason for that is that motherboard manufacturers, they don't know what you're going to do with that motherboard. They don't know if you're going to be using an operating system that can deal with secure boot, because I don't think Linux uses that. I'm not totally sure about that, but they don't know if you have already an operating system installed that knows how to handle with secure boot on, If they default it on and you need it off, that could cause you a no boot situation, and they feel that is more hazardous to their reputation than if you
Read chat,
want
please.
secure boot on
Read
and they
chat,
turn it
please.
off. They have to pick one way or the other. Yes, Phil Stodd said Linux can run with secure boot enabled. Can. Is that the default? Is that the normal? That would be my follow-up questions on that. Jeff Ryman said some versions of Linux can use secure boot, but the the motherboard manufacturer has to pick one or the other for distributing their BIOS update. And I can understand where they might say it's a safer bet for them to go to secure boot off. Now, the person who is doing a BIOS update should be educated enough to know to go check for that. And it might be in their documentation for that update. If you read it, how many people raise your hands if you always read the instructions about BIOS updates? 1, if you do read the instructions, and 0, if you just install the update without reading any documentation. So it might be in their documentation. So reading documentation, Jeff and Phil are both saying 1. Brian says, no, I don't do that. John Williams and Rand Israel say, yeah, I do that. I always read the instructions. Do we believe them? 1, no, I'm not going to say that. Beat a dead horse, right? So well done, Chevy. Thank you for giving us that story of your journey. Finish that reply. And then I'm still holding on to these 2 from Greg. This one I'm holding on to see if Microsoft fixes this thing about Windows 10 showing that it's a 2009 version. I shouldn't say 2009 because that's not the right way to pronounce that. It's 2009. Refers to the year 2020 in the 9th month. If you pronounce it 2009, it sounds like you're referring to the year 2009. So I'm figuring somewhere along the line, somebody's going to say, hey, Doug, that's fixed.
Read chat.
That's when we'll clear this off. John Williams says every motherboard does not allow BIOS update the same way. Yeah, the motherboard manufacturers, their methods for BIOS update can be different from other motherboards, and some motherboards have multiple different ways that you could do a BIOS update. Some of them have that USB port, that special USB port, so special, that special USB port on the back of the computer for specifically for BIOS update. Some of them require that you have a specially formatted thumb drive, or that their update is the only file on the drive. Some of them, your BIOS update, you can point them to a folder on any drive media that's connected. Variety of things. Not that I'm an expert in that. I'm only saying that from what I've observed and seen Kerry Holzman do. Since I'm not a builder, I don't do a lot of BIOS updates. The BIOS updates I do are pretty much always, are pretty much always done through Windows Update. Aha, you might say. The manufacturer might have a more recent BIOS update than what comes through Windows Update. Yeah, but my experience through like Dell computers and HP computers, for instance, if they
Read
have
chat, please.
a more current BIOS available, it might not be fully ready for public distribution. And I've had times when I call a tech support for one thing or another, not particularly for BIOS updates, but for other updated versions, such as OBS, I've done this, where I have a particular problem. They say, yeah, we have an updated version specifically for that problem. But that updated version of OBS is not intended for broad
Read chat,
public
please.
release. I'll go get those read chat messages. I think I'm ready for that. Maybe some people's have checked to see if the Windows 10 issue is still up and about. Pop out chat and then come make this
Read
big
chat, please.
bigger bunch of read chats. Yeah, I already had that one. That one's the one I'm trying to say that I already had. Interesting to check if it says 22H2 on systems that were clean installed using 22H2 media instead of being upgraded over the years. Interesting. Okay, I think maybe I'm hoping somebody will check that and let us know what happens on a clean install. I have some old computers here that I've replaced in clients' offices that are Windows 10 that haven't been updated for quite a while. I've been wanting to bring it up on one of them up on the bench and see if it shows. I suspect it will not show those 4 boxes on the top of that device information window, if that's where it is. And then does it show the 2009 or does it show the old way? And then let it go through Windows updates and see if it changes. The special USB flashback process can be done without a CPU or RAM installed on most node boards. Yes. I was aware of that. I would not have volunteered that information because that's not top of mind for me, but my motherboard will do that, as I understand, because it has that special port. You don't even have to have a CPU in place. And that's a good thing because it's possible that the motherboard, the version BIOS that you have on a motherboard might not know how to handle that CPU chip. And I recollect Kerry Holzman had an episode where that precise thing happened. He had put a CPU in, it would not boot, and then he found an update for the BIOS, installed it, and then that CPU chip was recognized. And also maybe not being able to deal with the RAM, I think. Then another read chat. Most pre-built computers will update BIOS through Windows Update. Yeah, and so that's mostly what I deal with, except for these mini computers. I won't be surprised at all if there are BIOS updates for them that do not happen through Windows Update, because as I understand, there's an expense involved for a manufacturer to put any of their updates into Windows Update. And then also, I won't be surprised if these mini computers don't really do much in the way of updates, because a lot of the BIOS updates is for being able to recognize other hardware. And that is particularly a common experience and needed for custom built computers. Because when you buy a motherboard, they don't know what hardware you're going to be throwing on that. But a mini PC, it's far less likely that you're going to be upgrading any hardware that's going to require a BIOS update. So the BIOS updates on those might be more along the lines of maybe changing some default settings to comply with new industry standards, although I really don't feel that's a strong thing. Maybe if they've discovered some kind of vulnerability in the BIOS, so that might be a reason to seek a BIOS update if you're particularly concerned about vulnerabilities. Now, I'm not too concerned about that because the computers I deal with are in office environments where they're not going to be approached physically by a hacker. And as far as things that vulnerabilities related to BIOS, a hacker needs to gain some kind of access to it first. They could access it through the internet, through your firewall on your router, if your router has some vulnerabilities, if you have some open ports, if you have a router that is already designed to allow access from outside of the internal network for some reason, such as remote workers connecting with a port forwarding on a router to get in. There might be a kind of an opening. So I don't feel highly concerned about it, but one of my defenses against that is my notion of intending to standardize so that I don't have a whole bunch of different brands of mini computers out there. Currently, I'm standardized on the B-Link line. Let's see. Oh, well, that's John Downey, the easy answer there. John says most pre-built computers will update BIOS to the Windows. John, Downey to John Williams. So why does Kerry always doing BIOS updates? Well, because he comes from the background of custom building computers, and BIOS updates are super, super important there. In the realm of the mini computers and the pre-built computers, I don't think it's quite so important. However, for a model that's new to the market, a system integrator, which is what Carrie and I are, a little different term than system builder. I'm systems integrator. I'm not a computer builder. Systems integrator in the sense that I integrate my clients' various different technologies that they use in their environments and their software so they can work together. But anyway, yeah, he comes from that background of BIOS updates, but even outside of the custom builder, I think it is significant to look for BIOS updates in these off-brand mini computers, although they don't seem to do that much. So that might not be around so much with these vanilla brand computers. I need to look more into that. I need to, I don't want to say bone up because some of you people are still in your teenage years, but I need to bring my education up on that. Wait, didn't you just say that? Yeah. Voice equals BIOS. Where did you get BUIS? I don't know. Are you joking at my pronunciation when I spelled it? Okay, I got to get to another thing that's waiting in the wings for me to respond to because it brings up another topic. Topics by comments and emails is really the main, yeah, and in chat room is the main focus. Now, also in recent episodes, sounds like I have a medical condition. In recent live streams, when I have gone back and looked at chat, which I don't always do, I have seen people ask questions that they didn't use an exclamation mark C, likely because they didn't want to interrupt the show. And it was just like, if we have something else to talk about, I have this question. So if you have any of those questions, this would be a good time to put those into
Red chat, please.
That would be a good time to put those questions into chat. And I see Rand Israel, I misspelled BIOS one line earlier is what he said. Oh yeah. So let's see, Rand Israel. Yeah, because I gotta go look at, oh yeah, voice. That sounds like a French pronunciation, isn't it? See my question directed to you regarding Windows 11 in place upgrade. See if I can do it this way. There's only one place for that, so it is somewhere else. Oh, here. I watch a lot of board repair of laptops, and some of the issues were caused by BIOS updates pushed via Windows updates. Really? I would like, if you come across that, I would really like to have a link. If you can send me a link for that, you can send it either by email or just add it to a comment on any of my videos. It'll pop up. But be sure that you, if you wouldn't mind, when you do that link, something like this is a link to one of those board repairs, computer damaged by a Windows update BIOS. I'd very much like to see that. I'm not getting that. I was trying to turn that email off. Yeah, very much would like to see that. Was that, now where am I missing that? Oh, it was Greg. I watch a lot of board repair of laptops. Some of the issues were caused by BIOS updates pushed via updates. I'd really like to I'd like to look into the detail of those videos, because this is the kind of thing that I to be honest, I'm suspicious of. Is that really documented, or was that a word of mouth? You know how the old telephone game, how things change over time? Because if there are laptops being borked by a Windows Update, BIOS. I really want to see that documentation. I'm a doubter. Okay. I did not really absorb the rest of those comments at this time, unless they have a read chat, please. But I'm going to come back to chat after I deal with this email. I'm going to make this one bigger. This is from Craig Wilson. We had a email back from him. He was the one with a Bluetooth speaker problem and fresh Windows install, and the issue where he couldn't get in a Cronus flash media to boot the computer. And we've already had a couple interactions with that, but this is a follow-up question from him on a related question, but not specifically the same. So let's go here. I don't remember if I'm cleared to reveal his last name. So let's do this. I'm going to just go ahead and copy that over into Microsoft Word. I could have just read it out loud to you with all of that. You're saying you're welcome to my thank you for him bringing up the subject or something like that. This may be a pretty basic question, but could you explain the difference between an image clone and a backup? Absolutely. Awesome question. And I'm going to did it again. Yeah, press the video link button, click reply, and then paste that, send it, and then I'm going to read this again from Craig. Craig already started addressing this. If you want to rewind a little bit, fine, but you don't have to. I'll get to that in a minute, Martin. He says, this may be a pretty basic question, but could you explain the difference between an image clone and a backup? Yes, that's an excellent question. Now let's start with image clone. Those two words don't really belong together. It's kind of redundant. The word image and the word clone, sort of redundant. That'll become clear in a moment. The word image really belongs with the word backup. An image backup is different than backup. Backup by itself is typically file and folder backups. An image backup is where you're taking the currently installed drive and you're backing it up to a file that contains an image of that entire hard drive, which you could restore that to another drive and then put that drive into the computer and boot the computer with the full operating system, all the partitions, all the files and folders. So image backup belongs to be associated with the word backup, not with the word clone. We don't typically need the word image in front of the word clone. The word clone, typically the way that works is you have your backup software and you have two drives attached. And then what you're going to do is clone the source drive to the target drive. There's no intermediate file that contains the image. It's just straight from this one to this one. So when you do that clone operation, it clones every bit of content from the source drive to the target drive. You can put the target drive in the computer and then boot the computer. Why would you choose one method over the other? I pretty much always do image backups, even when I'm intending to immediately restore the image to another drive. The reason for that is because I like to keep copies, image copies of my clients' drives. So I want a backup image anyway. I could clone straight from the source drive to the target drive and not have to have that third device that is creating that file. It saves a little bit of time to clone from one drive to another because you don't have that extra step. That extra step is going to take the entire amount of time that it takes to do the clone, You're going to have that amount of time to make the image backup to another storage media of some form or another. Then that entire amount of time again to restore it to the target drive. Now, it might not be the same time. The time that it takes to go from the source to the storage drive might be longer than the time that it takes to clone from the source to the target, depending upon how you have these drives connected. If both of these drives are connected internally, connected to the motherboard, and particularly like the M.2 or SATA drive connection, that's going to work faster than anything that's going through a USB connection. So those are some of the factors involved. Craig, if that inspires any more follow-up questions, please go ahead and ask them. And perhaps that covers everything that you're interested in. Okay, so I finished that reply. I don't have any other emails lined up, so let's go hang out and chat. And there was a rechat recently. Martin Hogg. Why is it so difficult to uninstall Copilot, as even when choosing to uninstall it, and doing that, it still remains attached to various apps and active? I can answer that. Copilot is a has a multiple personality disorder. Let's say that. Look down here on my taskbar. I have two Copilots. I have Windows Copilot. Let's guide your attention down here. I have Windows Copilot, which is this icon, and I have Microsoft 365 Copilot. That's a different animal. And then let's come over here to Microsoft Word. I have a Copilot up here in Microsoft Word that is attached to Microsoft Word. I have a similar icon in Microsoft OneNote, a similar icon in Excel. And if you're using other Microsoft products, it's going to show up there as well. Now let's get into get you to another level of understanding about why this is happening. I'm going to go to my Office 365 account. I do that by typing office.com. I'm going to have to take this off screen often. And I'm going to need to disable, Rand Israel says, Copilot for each and every Doug. Yeah, here's like Oprah Winfrey on her show. A Copilot for you, a Copilot for you, a Copilot for you. Let's see, I need, no, not there. I want to go into extensions. Manage extensions. I'm going to turn off RoboForm so I don't accidentally expose something, because that's a thing. And then come over to office.com. Take that off screen. When I press enter, the last chat from John Williams, just Google it. I don't quite know what you're meaning there. But here's what I want to point out. Microsoft 365 is no longer called Microsoft 365. You know, it used to be called, I think, Office 365. And then before that, maybe Microsoft Office. I don't know all the name gyrations it's gone through, but now it's called Microsoft 365 Copilot. Copilot is the star of the show. Copilot is the grand poobah where everything else is a sub-element of. Microsoft is fully on board with this Copilot. Now, I've kind of taken some liberties in how I've said that there, but I want to point out that Copilot is very much ingrained into the Office product. You can uninstall portions of Copilot, but I think probably what you're really interested in is just turning off the Copilot icon in the Microsoft Office products. Is that what you're actually looking to do, Martin? So which piece is it that you're actually trying to disable, and why are you trying to disable it? Now, also on this point, I'm going to be calling a client who texted me just this morning at 6:37 my time, I think he's in Texas, says, "Good morning. Copilot is interfering with copy and pasting pictures. How do I delete Copilot?" Now, I'll be connecting remotely to his computer to see exactly where this symptom is happening, because offhand, I don't know where or how Copilot could be interfering with pasting pictures. With that much said, Martin, do you give me any more focus on your actual question? Now, let's see if there's been some. Just Google it. I don't quite know. Google is the best search engine and was there way before AI. Well, that's not why they're complaining about it, John. They're not complaining because Copilot is, I mean, they might already be Googling. That's not how Copilot is annoying them. Brian, I've turned off Copilot on any and all apps with Copilot, including the big app known as Windows. Yeah, you can, there's an uninstall I think you can do, but then that's not all. You've got to go turn it off in different places. And off the top of my head, I can't recite how and where to do that because I haven't actually tried to accomplish that. Greg just ignores it. Phil Stott, I have not used Google search in so long, I forgot it was a thing. DuckDuckGo. Actually, and let me respond to this. Google is the best search engine and was there way before AI. No, absolutely do not agree with that. No. So Google best search engine as compared to other search engines, yeah, but the AI, you can get so much better, more focused information. Oh my gosh, do I have something to show you? Oh, on that subject. We're going to do overtime for this because this just happened this morning. This was just astounding. And it is a Google search product. It is based on it. It's a Google's AI. Who knows what that's called? What is the name of Google's AI? I think I've got this piece right. This was pretty impressive. Gemini. Yeah. Gemini, yeah. Oh, man, I got something impressive to show you about Gemini. Oh, and I've also got to show you this. At the same time, it's a major ding on Gemini. Oh, this is just hilarious. I've got to show you this. Did I get anything more from Martin about what he was really after? I'll probably have more on that tomorrow because I have a feeling I'm going to be going through that with this client today. Oh, Netscape Navigator. There's a blast from the past. Okay, so Gemini. Oh, I've got to show you this. And I have it queued up even, sort of, because this is something I just went through this morning. Okay, so here's the basic Gemini screen. Enter a prompt for Gemini, and it has this thing called deep research. Now, I asked Gemini to explain to me what deep research is. I don't know how quickly I'm going to be able to find this, if I can at all. You can see, now I'm using 3 different AIs, and you can see how much stuff that I'm doing. Deep research, right here, deep research explained. Let's see. So this was a long conversation between me and Gemini. Can you explain what happens if I use the deep research button that you have available in these conversations? And basically, Gemini was responding to that. It's nothing different. It's what I'm doing all the time. Let's see. Then I say, why is deep research not showing any more info for me to click on? Sounds like there might be a misunderstanding about how deep research works. To clarify, deep research isn't a button that you click on within our conversation. Yes, it is. It's a process that I use behind the scenes when I need to gather information from the web to give you a more comprehensive answer. Basically, my message to you, without reading through all of this, I'm going to tell you that Gemini totally failed in its description of what deep research does. I accomplished an example this morning that shows what deep research really, really does. So here I'm going to show you that. It was impressive. It failed to give me the answer I wanted, but it was impressive. Here's what let's see. Let's give you an idea how long this one is. Oops, actually, that's not where I want to start with. Okay, I need to keep on track here. So I'm going to glance at that. Okay, I'm going to, yeah, I'll get back to that later, Martin. So here I have a device that's causing a error every time my computer restarts, and I looked up the device ID and I asked Gemini, what is this? So it does some searching here in its basic capabilities. I'm not going to read through these. And I wasn't, let's see what it said. Without a direct lookup in a specialized database, it's difficult to pinpoint the exact device solely from these numbers. You would typically find these IDs in your computer's device manager. That's where I got it from. Thank you very much. And so then I just clicked on deep research after it did this. And then when I clicked on deep research, it says this will create a new chat. So I clicked on new chat. I do not turn on the don't ask me again. I want it to ask me this. So I went into new chat and then I pasted the same exact question or prompt. And here's the conversation that came from that. I clicked on deep research and it goes into all this: introduction and understanding, identification of USB device. Scroll down because this, and then this, and then this, and then this, a bunch of information. We're not near done yet. And let's see, where's that scroll bar at? Why is this not going further? Oh yeah, so then this actually was the original dynamic conversation was spread out much longer, because after it gave me the basic information, then it did a bunch of searching through other websites and it came up with a result. And then it started doing more, and then it did more, and then it did more. It did deep crawling through each of these websites trying to find more information. This is all the sources read, but now this is sources read but not used in the report. So these ones up here are the ones that are used in the report. These ones down here are places that it searched and found that there wasn't anything relevant. So it searched through all. This took a while for it to complete. Now we get down to the bottom here, and there's thoughts. If you miss this, if you don't click on thoughts, you're missing the whole game. Click on thoughts, and now what do we get? Identifying the manufacturer, researching these websites, manufacturer identified, researching websites, confirming next action, researching websites. This is the dynamic info. This is what I saw while it was running. Still ambiguous, refining the search, trying more sites that it searched, more. Ken Stout's so going to use this. More. Okay, now. Oh, jeez. Basically, it was, everything it was coming up with was saying that it thought it was related to Samsung. Did not actually find the answer I was looking for. But that's what deep research means. Holy moly. You're not going to get that with a Google search. A Google search is going to give you some things. Then you got to go click on each one of those things and go search through them yourself. Are you kidding me? No, Google's not the better way to go anymore. That's long gone. Well, not long gone, but
Read chat, please.
you stay in Wonderland and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Yeah. But the thing is, I didn't have to go searching all that stuff. The AI did it. Now, what was that other one? Somebody was giving me grief. I got that one. There was another read chat after that, wasn't there? Martin Hogg. I simply disagree with the ethics of forcing something on me that I do not want and I have chosen to uninstall, thereby demonstrating that I do not want. Yeah, okay. Computers are more complex than that, and you're gonna have to learn more. Martin, stop using computers. You can disagree with that all day long. That's not going to make it happen. You can be angry about it, and that's okay. I understand your anger, but you maybe need to go to Linux. And that this behavior from Microsoft and Google and whatever the other software manufacturers are, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. You can disagree with it all as much as you want. Personally, you see how much I turn to the AI, how much benefit I'm getting from it. I'm liking it. You need to go, if you're that angry about it, you need to go to Linux. Why do you use Windows? Martin, why are you using Windows? In office environments, we're stuck with it. We can't go to Linux in office environments, and that's where I make my bread and butter. That's where I make my money. You're an individual. Why not but you do support people using Windows. That's not going to stop. You need to come to peace with it. Maybe see a therapist. It's not going to stop. You need to find a way to make peace with it and live with it. Seriously. I'm not joking. I'm serious. My phone just chimed in. You don't want to continue living this way, Martin. That's just no. You got to find a way to make peace with it. I know that's not the answer you want. Do you think I would use AI to do a BIOS update? Not for a long time. When the AIs they make huge, massive mistakes. And I see them every day that I use AI. I see it make bonehead idiot mistakes. Usually they're very glaring mistakes. Sometimes I have to go double check up on them. I have to check up on them and they're wrong. But net result, I am getting huge gains from using AI. It's not nearly as good as the manufacturer would like to think. So, hey, Doug, well, what is it? What do you see on you on both sides of the fence? Yeah. Isn't everybody on both sides of the fence always? Isn't it possible for a person to insist that you must abide by the law? And when they hear somebody skirting, walking the line on a law, or maybe crossing over the line a little bit, and they say, no, behavior, that's illegal, illegal. Yet they will do a rolling stop at a stop sign and not come to a complete stop. It is illegal to do a rolling stop. You have to come to a complete stop. Yet that same person is insisting, don't break the law, will break the law. Sometimes. Where's the line? Everybody's on both sides of a lot of conversations, and they don't admit it. They don't recognize that. There's been some read chat, please. Am I striking a chord? Am I getting people upset? Am I driving emotions? YouTube loves emotions. They don't care whether it's positive or negative. Copilot can be disabled using group policy, though that makes total sense. That makes total sense because in the corporate environment, you might seriously want to be disabling that. Not now, Brand Israel, but maybe tomorrow on the 2-hour show. Maybe you could take us through that. Jeff Raymond, Microsoft will always have to provide a way to disable AI for certain environments. Yeah, but you're going to have to learn how to do that. And also the recall stuff, they'll have to disable. Classified work, sensitive work like HIPAA. How do you clean up all the data that's been put out there, which absorbs into his brain? The Google account management has a way to export everything that it has collected and delete it. So they provide for that. Every time you fly in a passenger plane, you are putting your life into AI's hands. They call it autopilot. No, disagree. I am a pilot, and I have conducted training workshops for pilots. Well, more to the point, I coordinate them, but I actually deliver some of the content. And I had I was involved in coordinating the efforts of instructors, pilot instructors. Now I can't even think of the right word. People who train pilots. So I am pretty informed on that. The instruments on an airplane, they are not AI. No, they are instruments. They are programmed to perform certain functions. They don't make deductions and conclusions. So I do not think anybody calls that AI. It is autopilot, but that's not artificially intelligent pilot. I'm seriously pushed back on it. I challenge you to give me any kind of documentation to the contrary, other than somebody just yammering on from a YouTube video. Wait a minute, isn't that what I'm doing right now? Did I get all of the read chats? I got to get out of here. I want to go make sure I caught the last ones. Yeah, no, not AI. Got that. Got that. Yeah, we might have some disagreements here, and I don't mind, further conversation on it on another day, not now. You could send an email to this email address with a question that I'll respond to myself in the chat room. We'd just get a whole bunch of joy out of helping somebody with an actual problem that they're having with their actual Windows-based computer. So with that said, I've got a redirect to Carrie's show on front. Oh, that's going to be interesting. He's building a computer in a new case that is a retro design to look like an old computer. That ought to be fun. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.
That's all, folks.
Tune in 6 days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team, for Windows support and more than you've dreamed. Join the fun, don't miss a single stream at LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts, or simply where tech support's supreme. Where tech support's supreme. Tune in 6 days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team, for Windows support and more than you've dreamed. Join the fun.